The GTA housing market is heading into one of the most unpredictable years we've seen in a long time, where what happens next could make or break your real estate plans. With 400,000 mortgages up for renewal, interest rates finally coming down, and the potential for a trade war shaking up the economy, buyers and sellers are left wondering, should I act now or wait? In this video, we're breaking down what's really happening behind the headlines, how supply shifts and rate cuts will impact the market, and what you need to know if you're buying or selling in 2025. Stick around because waiting too long could cost you. Hey there, I'm Matt Sloan, a realtor here in the GTA. And I know I have to ask in order to grow my channel, so if you could please just take 2 seconds, hit that subscribe button, it would really mean a lot. And if you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Now, like I said, we're gonna look into what are the few most recent headlines we have seen regarding the Greater Toronto Area real estate market to start off the year here in 2025. And maybe what the numbers look like behind those headlines to give us a little bit of a greater picture of what's been going on here to start the year. So the first one, new listings spike to near record high. So we've heard that, we've seen that, and it is kind of true. So the new listings, as you see here, we have a 10-year average for like the month of January periods from 2016 to 2025, and the 10-year average is just under that 9,000 mark for new listings. And we've seen here this past January, we've had over 12,000 new listings hit the market. So a lot of new inventory hitting the market, much greater than what we've seen in past Januaries over the past 10 years. So buyers' market conditions, really came back into play in January. And when we started to see some of the inventory come off the market in December, creating a little bit less inventory, a little bit less supply out there, I should say, for the buyers. We've really seen it kick up here in January, as well as months of supply has climbed to over 4.5 months of supply, which has really put us into a buyer's market in areas around the GTA. Of course, every area is going to be a little bit different. I do mention that in most of my videos. So if you do want to know what's happening in your area or an area that you're looking at, click that description below and book a call with me at a time that works for you. But as we see, as an overall, we have 4.5 months of inventory on the market here in the GTA for all home types. Second headline we're getting into. So a slow start to 2025 as political and economic uncertainty puts buyers on hold. We know a lot of things are happening in the media with the political and economic uncertainties. So this has put buyers maybe a little bit on the sidelines right now. That and a few other reasons, but those could come into play. Aside from 2023, it was actually the slowest January for resale housing activity since 2009. So as you see here, the last 10-year average for sales in the month of January has been just under 4,600 sales in the month of January. And we didn't even hit 4,000 sales, just over 3,900 sales for the month of January this year. And you can take a look at this graph here. It's well below the 10-year average and a little bit less than even last January. So the next thing is I talked about in these other videos were how things might change around that $1 million to $1.5 million price range. We saw that change come into play on December 15th, 2024 with the insured mortgages, where that's going to allow people to put less than 20% down up into the $1.5 million mark. And we thought we'd see a change. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a curve there, but we actually saw a bit of a decline in sales from the $1 million to $1.25 million mark. So a little bit of a decline, 6% decline in that price range, which I do think that's going to pick up. I do think that market is going to get pretty competitive here once buyers start coming off the sidelines here. Once we get a little bit more consumer confidence with what's going on within the economy, with interest rates, with the political campaigns happening in Canada and the US. Once we get a little bit more consumer confidence, I think that price range is really going to get competitive, but stay tuned, we'll find out. And then from the 1.25 range to 1.5 range, we've actually seen no no change there from January 2025 to January 2024. Next up, this has led to a GTA average price dip to a 12-month low. So 12-month low for the GTA prices, which has left us at an average price of $1,040,000. In January, the Greater Toronto Area home prices actually increased 1.5% year over year to an average of, as I mentioned, $1,040,000. Yet it still remains 16% below the January 2022 high. And again, I don't think we're going to get there to those January 2022 numbers this year, or maybe next year. It's going to take a bit. Some areas we are seeing it get close to there. Again, that depends on the supply in that area. And again, as I mentioned, it does change from pocket to pocket around here in the GTA, how much supply is on the market, how much demand there is for that specific home type, price point, area. So again, if you do want to know yours specifically, reach out, let me know, and I can send you that information. Next up, condos were only housing type to decline year over year, with prices down 1.6% to $670,000. In contrast, detached homes saw a 2.1% increase to 1.377, while semis, rows, and towns saw a little bit of a rise of 1.6% to 951,000. So this graph just breaks down the change of each home type from detached to towns and rows and to the condo market. So you can see not a huge amount of change over the January periods here as you take a look at this graph. And then lastly, the condo inventory source. We've been saying this for a bit now. There's been a ton of condos on the market. The inventory is on the rise. Sales are declining a little bit here around the GTA in the condo space. So if you are thinking of selling your condo, or if you have to sell your condo, you have to probably price it pretty aggressively, as well as market it as best as you can with staging, photos, really separating your condo from the rest. If you don't have to sell it, maybe hold on to it a little bit longer while, that condo market recovers a little bit. So new listings for the condo apartments increased 42% annually to just over 4,500 units, a record high for the January period. So again, that's just January to January. It increased 42%. And this pushed active listings to the month and 47% higher than a year ago to 6,913 units. If you look at this graph, this shows you the average condo prices have dropped to a 47-month low in January 2025, with half of all the sales falling below 600K for the first time in years. So again, tough time to be a seller in the condo space, but if you are looking to get that first property, get into the market, and you haven't done that yet, the condo space may be somewhere you should really be looking into if that suits your needs, where there could be some opportunity there. As I just mentioned, we've seen sales falling below 600,000 for the first time in years. So opportunity there for buyers, not so much for sellers, but again, if you do have to sell, that's fine. We can kind of discuss and see the best route to do so. But again, if you don't have to, maybe hold on to it a little bit. So those are some of the headlines we've been seeing here in the GTA to start off the year in 2025. I hope the numbers behind those headlines make it a little bit more clear of what is happening. I think we are going to see some changes in the market pick up a little bit. We've seen it a little bit here in February. It hasn't been too much change, but the direction has been going. We've seen a little bit more transaction volume than we did see in January, which is typical as we creep closer to that spring market. So stay tuned on the channel for more information. If you do want to reach out, again, hit that link in the description below. I'm happy to have a chat with you or a strategy call with you at a time that works best. And if I don't, we will see you in the next one.